Welcome to a first live Ask Me Anything session. Thank you so much for sending such great questions. We did not expect actually to have this much on the first Ask Me Anything. We thought we might need to throw in some additional questions, but there was actually more than enough. And all of them were actually quite interesting, and we're happy that we'll get the opportunity to answer them with you. And thank you for taking the time to attend live for the one who could. And for everyone that was not able to attend live, we are recording this Ask Me Anything, and we will most likely publish it on YouTube after. But in any case, what we will do for sure is publish as a blog post the Q&A of this Ask Me Anything, so that any answers that was given is easily searchable online for anyone that might have similar questions. So today will be actually a big, almost the majority of the Alephium team is here for the Ask Me Anything. So we'll do a quick round to introduce ourselves so you know who will be answering questions. And since I'm already talking, then I'll be rude and start with myself. So my name is Maud, and I'm the Chief of Staff at Alephium, which in short means I deal with anything that is not related to coding, because I could not code to save my life. But the other stuff I'm okay with. So this is what I do at Alephium. And yes, I will pass on the mic to Seth.
Yes, well, my name is Seth Hallström, and I work mainly on the community aspect. You see me posting the announcements in these Discords, and managing a bit of the channels and the general communication.
Yeah.
And I guess I will be moderating today, so I will be reading the questions you've asked to the team.
Yeah.
Maybe Polto?
Hi. I'm Alex Poltorak, so I joined the project quite early as an advisor, and mostly in charge of regulatory questions and like the link between the tech and the regulatory stuff.
Cool. Then I will pass the mic to Benoit.
Just turning on the camera so that you can see I'm not only a cheesemaker, I'm actually a real guy. Yeah, my name is Benoit. I'm mostly focusing on infrastructure, and I'm also the chief of cheese, or CFO for Chief Fondue Officer.
Yeah.
Perfect. Maybe Thomas, you can go ahead now.
Let me turn my camera too. So hi, I'm Thomas. So I'm a backend developer, so mostly working on the full node as well as all the Explorer stuff. Yeah, that's it.
Then I guess Mika, since you're next to Thomas, we can see the same lamp.
Yeah. So hi everybody. So I'm Mika Adverbre, responsible of front-end development, design of our UIs, and yeah, the user experience in general.
Okay, I think then we have Boubacar, that is right there. I think you're still muted somehow.
Yes, should be fine now. Hello, everyone. My name is Boubacar, and I am a software engineering intern at Alephium. And I am mostly developing on the full node, Explorer backend, and smart contracts.
Great. I think Cheng, maybe you can just say Cheng is here. He's our core developer and the founder of the project as well. I don't know if you want to say a few words, but this is fine if you're just listening in. And I don't think Hongshao is here, or if you are here, Hongshao, and I just don't recognize your username, please speak up, because no. Okay, so I guess Hongshao is not here. Okay, so we can, I guess, kickstart the question. We have kind of ordered them by topics, so that there's a little bit of consistency in the information we share with you. The idea is that we would go through those questions, and at the end, if you have any follow-up questions or something, you can ask at the end. However, if you really have a question that is very specifically linked to what we are talking to right now, you can interject. But the goal is that we try to stay on track and not deroute the meeting too much.
Cool. So shall I begin? I have a question here for Polto from the community, and it says, do you think 10,000 transactions per second is still attractive compared to, for example, Solana's 70,000 transactions per second?
Yeah, so first of all, I should probably mention that we are not yet at 10,000 transactions per second. That's the goal that we are trying to achieve with when we will scale up to 32 groups and 1,024 shards. For now, we start the mainnet with 4 groups and 16 shards that will provide some hundreds transactions per second, which is already quite a lot. And in the blockchain space, the transaction per second is not the kind of only criteria. You have security concerns, decentralization, and in general, that's what we call the blockchain trilemma. You have the scalability on one side, the decentralization and security are the 2 other parameters. So different blockchains are scaling, slightly giving up on the decentralization or on security. We tend to conserve the greatest decentralization and security and scaling with those. So we will start with these 4 groups and 16 shards. And as soon as we hopefully reach this transactional capacity, we will hard fork to augment the number of shards.
All right.
So I think it's still attractive because different solutions like Solana or different layer 2 solutions, they slightly give up on decentralization to provide this high throughput.
Okay. So Polto, you talk about shard, and what would you say to developers who advise against dealing with sharded chains?
Yeah, so it obviously depends on their arguments on the why they advise against. From what I heard, well, first of all, we had a lot of promises of sharded blockchain, and they kind of never happened. I believe Alephium will be the first in production blockchain that is not intended to be sharded, but that is already using sharding. Also, people kind of observe the problems in migrating Ethereum to sharding, and they understand that there will be difficulties with cross-shard transactions. So this is also somewhere something where Alephium is quite innovative and provides some really interesting solutions. And also something important to understand is that layer 2 solutions and sharding are not exclusive or competitors. They should be all combined together. So, for example, if you look at the potential Ethereum 2 future, they are trying to combine a lot of different rollup solutions, but also sharding. So currently, layer 2 solution seems to be more easy to adopt than sharding, but they are kind of silos. And to pass from one of these layer 2 to another, it demands on-chain transactions that are still very costly. So yeah, this is where Alephium sharding provide a good way, and it will certainly combine together with layer 2 solutions.
All right, but does this mean, like, can Alephium face the problems that Ethereum have with scalability and transaction fees in the future?
So this one is for me.
Yes.
So basically sharding is addressing the scalability issue. And as Polto mentioned in his first answer, right now we have 16 shards. And if, we're lucky and we're really successful and we end up having a high network load, then we can increase the number of shards to reduce the transaction fee. This morning when we discussed the question with Chang, he had a good analogy. Basically, you can imagine the blockchain like a queue of transaction, and the more transaction you have in the queue, the higher the fee to process it. And with sharding, what we do is that you can just open other queue for the transaction, and so none of the queue are then congested with transaction, and this way you can maintain a lower transaction fee than what Ethereum is currently experiencing, for example.
Okay, nice. So we have another question here, I think also for you, Maud, from the community, and it's how do you plan to encourage building dApps on Alephium?
So we already have work started. Boubacar has been working on building dApps for demo purposes, and actually building the decentralized application ecosystem around Alephium will be the focus of the team after the mainnet launch. At first, we will improve the tooling, the specification, the documentation around the virtual machine, the programming language. We'll also improve the JavaScript SDK, basically just making the overall technology more accessible and user-friendly. And we are looking into designing grant or token programs to incentivize external parties to develop on Alephium as well.
Excellent. So here we have a question for Boubacar. Do you expect it to be difficult for dApp developers to deploy existing dApps from Ethereum to Alephium, for example?
So based on our experience, it should be really easy to port applications from Ethereum to Alephium, especially when we will have provided better documentation, tooling, and UX, as Maud said. And because our smart contract language and VM design solve many of the security issues that you can have on Ethereum, you will not need as much security audits for your contracts. And if you take, for instance, Ethereum, the Solidity language is a language that is easy to learn, but quite insecure due to the virtual machine design. In contrast, it is much easier to write secure applications on Alephium. So overall, we offer a good balance between having easy to write but secure contracts.
Cool. So here another question for Maud.
Yeah.
How to attract stablecoins to the Alephium ecosystem?
There's different way to approach this. A first one is to build bridge to bridge some stablecoin to the Alephium ecosystem. But to do this, so this is one way. Another way would be to collaborate with some stablecoin project, but this needs the Alephium network to be a bit more mature and a bit more stable. But in addition to this, we are also going to build our own stablecoin on Alephium, similar to the DAI stablecoin, but on Alephium. Obviously, to be able to build stablecoin on Alephium, there's two important, let's say, bottleneck or tricky challenges. One would be building the oracle, and the other one would be the liquidity aspect.
Okay.
But
so
we hope we'll solve those challenges, of course. But they are not that easy.
Excellent. So here's a pretty long one for you, Maud, too. It goes, we have seen Sushiswap, Anyswap, Beefy Finances, Curve, pNetwork, UniFi, RenVM, Synapse, etc. They're all developing their application on 10+ chains. Will they develop anything on ALPH, and how do you plan to contact them? What would be their incentives to use ALPH instead of any of the other listed?
So I backwards start with the incentive. So basically the main value proposition of Alephium, right, is the virtual machine and smart contract design that offers a completely new programming paradigm for decentralized application and DeFi. So it's a much better level of security. It's actually the only layer 1 scalable blockchain that has operational sharding implemented. So the technological innovation of Alephium is the reason why such dApps would be looking to integrate to support Alephium. And obviously, when it comes to how do we plan on contacting them and all of this, the timing is key. You don't want to contact them too soon, because otherwise they will come in, and if you're not ready to work with them and your technology is not mature enough for them, then you risk to lose their interest. But at the same time, you need to be proactive, because otherwise nothing happened. So now, after the mainnet is launched, we'll have a bit more bandwidth, and we'll try to be a lot more proactive, to participate in more events, networking. We'll, of course, as I mentioned before, also have a grants program. And one thing also to keep in mind is that because Alephium is basically a new platform, it also offers a lot of opportunities for developers. And again, for any decentralized application, the transaction fee is a huge factor to take in for developers when they build. And so today, Alephium, because of, again, the question I answered just before, we can guarantee to have low transaction fee, even with high load, because we are a sharded blockchain, and we can just add more shards as the load increase on the network. Yeah.
Cool. So Maud, again, can ALPH be traded in DeFi?
So right now for Alephium to be traded on existing DeFi application, we would need to wrap Alephium. For example, we had to wrap it so that it's able to be used on Ethereum-based DeFi application. But actually, right now, the fee on Ethereum are so high that maybe it might make more sense to start wrapping on some layer 2 blockchain project instead. However, bridge are really challenging to build if you're trying to preserve decentralization. So yes, in the end, the goal is really to bring the DeFi ecosystem to Alephium, because the way Alephium has been designed is made for decentralized application. It's to solve many of the problems that we see today with decentralized applications. So ideally, Alephium would become the place where decentralized applications are built, versus the opposite.
Excellent. Yes. So now we have a front-end question for you, Mika. What are your plans for the alephium-js repo? Do you plan any Web3 NPM packages so developers easily can talk to, for example, a browser-based Alephium wallet from any JS-based front-end?
Yeah. So yeah, basically for now, for the mainnet launch, we really focused on building the main basic tools, so the wallet and the Explorer. But definitely after the launch, we will dig into DeFi and dApps, and for this we will definitely need to build our own modules, and we will work to integrate that into our JS SDK, so that people can actually use that to build on top of Alephium. Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. So now we're getting some questions about the future. And Maud, are you planning any new roadmap? And if so, when?
Technically, right now, if you go on GitHub, you can actually see a little bit the roadmap of what the technical team is working on. So we are definitely aware that this is not the most user-friendly roadmap for people to look at what is happening for the project. So we will try to come up with a more readable roadmap, a little bit more high level, and to also include non-technical aspect of the project on it. But right now, as of right now, the best place to see what is happening is really the GitHub repository and the different boards. Also, if you want to take part in kind of the technical discussions that are related to what we're working on right now, Discord is really the place.
Cool. And so, still in the future, how do you see the development of Alephium in the future and the dissemination of project among users?
Yeah. So I think in the first step, we need to mature the project and build a technical community and strengthen the ecosystem of Alephium. So there's once we feel confidence in this, there's three things that we can do in parallel: bridge with other ecosystem, integration with exchange and mining pool. So basically integrating with centralized services. Then it's integrating with decentralized ecosystem. And ultimately, it's also developing our own ecosystem. So improve the tooling and have a more expensive tooling suite, improve the user experience. So this is kind of what we'll be focusing on to increase the adoption.
But tell me more about this mass adoption. Will it be very difficult? I mean, it's a very niche project, is it?
Yes. Obviously, reaching mass adoption is always difficult. But every big project at some point was a niche project that no one had heard about. We really believe that the approach that Alephium is taking is right now, it is quite unique in the space, and it is answering critical needs and challenges that the blockchain space is encountering right now. So we believe that our technical response to those challenges is what is going to help us to have organic traction in the end in the ecosystem. But obviously, we will dedicate our time and effort to make sure that Alephium reach as many people as possible. And I have to say that we are lucky here to be based in Switzerland, because the blockchain ecosystem is actually quite active. The network in Switzerland quite active. So this is something we definitely plan on capitalizing on a lot more.
Excellent. So we have a mining question here. I think it goes to Benoit. It's a bit long, but it's interesting. So as miners start mining, they will accumulate ALPH, but will have nowhere to sell the tokens initially, since there are no exchange currently listing ALPH and no public sale. Do you believe that the listing on exchange will spark a dramatically higher hash rate? Do you think it could pose risk to the security of the blockchain itself? And how long do you think young miners will have to hold before being able to trade?
Long question indeed. So I'll start with the mining part, right? So Alephium is a proof of work, proof of less work chain, meaning people will come and mine to secure the chain. So the more hash rates, the more secure the chain is, which is quite interesting for us. Then, as soon as we will be listed on exchange, this might generate a bit of buzz around, and we will obviously this will obviously generate people coming for mining, so increase in hash rates. As long as there's no real coordination of heavy people coming and owning the chain by the what so-called 51% attack that we will, I think, spoke a bit later, we don't see this as a big issue. Now, in terms of holding, or also to say, and so since I'm responsible of the infrastructure, we are preparing for hash rate variation. On our side, we will provide hash rate as well. We don't want to own 51% of the hash rate on our side either, but we build a dynamic system that can throw more resource, hashing resource, or reduce hashing resource pretty much on demand. In terms of holding, so of course we launched the mainnet first. We're not listed in exchange, meaning we can't do lots, so we can't sell or exchange the tokens. We are expecting to be listed on exchange within the next 2 months or so. So in terms of holding, it means that we will need to hold 2 months the token before being able to do something to exchange the token. So I think it's not long term anyway.
Excellent. So still kind of relating to, yes, sorry.
Maybe just I want to add to this, just that so people are aware. So whenever we're discussing with exchange, which already started the discussion, obviously the time frame is not just dependent on us. A lot of discussion could not be started before the main Anyswap launch, exactly for the reason Benoit mentioned. So our goal is really within those 2 months to have the token publicly available, whether it is through a simple listing or by conducting a public sale. But again, unfortunately, this timing is not entirely up to us, but this is our goal.
And I just wanted to mention that some miners, like the guys who just published an article on Sesam Wallet, they will provide a kind of cloud mining solution where they are selling the hash rate. So they would already kind of find buyers for their tokens even while the token is not yet listed. So there are different ways to do it immediately from the launch of the network.
Cool. Amazing. So anything else? Anybody want to add to that very long question? We have also a mining sort of related question for Thomas. It's regarding the mining wallets. The person asking the question says here, I'm not yet sure I understand the interplay between the 4 addresses correctly, the 4 addresses in the mining wallet.
So basically, the number of miner addresses is linked to the number of group, because so each of the 16 chain are all part of one of the group. So basically, when you are mining on the 16 chain, and in order to get the reward, you need 1 address on each group, because each address is linked to one, is attached to one group. So in order to receive the reward that are mined on for the group 1, you need an address from group 1, etc. for all the groups. So the day we will have a lot of groups, we will need that much miner addresses.
Excellent. So a node question for Benoit. To compile contracts as of today, running a full node seems to be required. Will you provide an independent compiler to be used without having to run a node?
So we mentioned already a bit, or we spoke already a bit around tooling. This is something we need to improve. As of today, if you want to have your own compiler, you need to run a full node. So we will definitely provide more tooling, especially contract compiler. But today there are endpoints which are managed by us, allowing you to compile your own contract. So this is something I might send a few pointers, but we have a public full node, so a full node with API, or at least the non-wallet API, which is publicly exposed, that can be used in order to compile the contract without running a full node.
Cool. And Thomas, still on the node topic, are there any plans to write third-party nodes to have more than one implementation, or at least produce some documentation regarding the protocols, blockflow, VM, etc., to allow third parties to write their own implementation?
So yeah, for sure, we want to have a different implementation. For now, we were focusing on one implementation, which is already quite a lot of work. But for sure, we are thinking of having other implementation. And regarding docs, we will also, as soon as the mainnet is launched, we will also focus on the better documentation and yeah, for the better documentation, because we will love the community to also help to build a new implementation.
Excellent. And Thomas, regarding the smart contracts, where are the specifications for the contract DSL, including language reference, like grammar in EBNF or similar, and the documentation of built-in functions? Where can we find it?
So a bit like the previous answer, so the documentation will come. We will focus on it, and but currently you can find in the code all the DSL, and you can find everything. We also have some integration tests with already a quite complex smart contract that you can explore to get an idea. Probably we will provide some links to so you can directly go in the right place in the code to be able to see all the language.
Excellent. Thank you, Thomas. I have another question for you, Thomas, about the tech design. Is there a max number of shards for Alephium?
Yeah, so for now currently we set it at 32 groups and 1024 shards, but it's based on the estimation of 10 megabytes bits per second. Sorry. So probably in the future, with the hardware and the bandwidth that is improving, we can think that maybe later we can even improve and go up to even beyond that numbers. So currently 32 groups and 1024 shards is the current limit.
Excellent. Thank you. And we have another tech design question for you, Benoit, building a little bit on the attack of the 51%. So how does Alephium protect against attack of 51%?
Yeah, so I mentioned this briefly, but I can go a bit more deeper into this. So 51% attack is the most popular the most popular attack on proof of stake, proof of work, chain. So the defense we put in place is has basically two sides. One is really on the infrastructure side, as I mentioned. We can basically throw more hash rates in the chain when it's needed. But also on a technical side, built-in inside the chain and the full node itself, we have another level of defense, which is called max length for revert. So if we have a fork which is too long, so mined by the 51%, it simply can't be swapped and become the most the main part of the chain. So basically we took this into account in the design detail of the chain, and this is something which is present in our minds.
Excellent. Well, that was the question we had. So there are a few people.
I think we had one last questions, but it's a little bit now off topic. But maybe this is still something maybe I want to quickly address. Because I feel like it's an important part of our history, so it's nice to give a bit clarity like this, maybe. Can you?
Okay. So that question is, in 2019, you were active at various conferences. It has quieted down recently. Why?
So, I mean, hopefully you've noticed that recently, actually, our activity has been piking up and we've been publishing a lot more. But basically in 2019, Cheng finished with the white paper around the blockflow algorithm and was presenting it at conferences, networking to gather interest for the project. And it actually worked really well and secured some initial funding so that we could start with the development. So basically from 2019 until, kind of July this year, the team was focusing exclusively on development. And this is something you can easily see, but just looking into our GitHub activity. So we just kept, I wasn't there, but the dev team that was there at the time kept their head down and just, transformed the white paper into a reality. And now, as you see, there's a bit more activity. We are trying to be more present, communicate more. And, once the mainnet is launched, we will try to ramp this up, participate into more events, as much as COVID permits. But yeah. So this is why there's been like a big, a little bit of a gap in public communication, but that was just to develop excellent technology.
Cool. All right. Well, this whole adventure took us 35 minutes, and we've planned for an hour. So I mean, there are a few people in here that aren't from the team. Maybe you have any questions you would like to ask any one of us? No?
Yeah. speaking up, you can also just write in the chat. But if we've answered every question in a satisfactory manner and you don't have any more questions, that's also okay.
Excellent. And just also a reminder that everything will be transcribed and published in text also for review later if you forgot an answer or anything.
Yeah, and I guess we'll try to have more frequent Ask Me Anything so that we have kind of a regular way to exchange with the community and answer specific questions as well. So this is just the first one of hopefully many others.
Yes.
I see that Darko has a question. Yeah. So on the general chat.
Yeah.
And he's here, but he has his mic muted. Darko, do you hear us?
Oh, he say his mic isn't working. Are you planning address privacy issues? So maybe I can jump to provide a start to this, and then we see how we can extend. So Alephium is a UTXO based blockchain, so it can provide pseudonymous privacy, like on Bitcoin, where you can use multiple addresses, one per payment, basically, where you can use all techniques that are available on Bitcoin itself to make more private transactions, like no address reuse, coin join, and similar techniques applicable to UTXO. So that's the kind of first answer to this. I don't know if someone have something to complete on this.
Well, Darko seems to be happy. He says thanks in the general channel.
Maybe I
Can I ask a question? Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you're planning also on developing standards, like the EIPs of Ethereum, or if you're just going to take the existing ones from other blockchains.
So,
who wants to answer that one?
Although maybe you
No
use
one.
that first, and I can comment a bit more, or you.
Yeah. So first of all, we already use a lot of standards from Bitcoin, for example, and also some from Ethereum. So, for example, the wallet is based on BIP 32, BIP 39, and 44. So those are like the Bitcoin improvement proposals and standards. Some are coming from the Ethereum world, and yeah, maybe Sheng, you can complete.
Yeah. So basically, during the development, we have get a lot of or kind of borrow a lot of ideas from Bitcoin and the Ethereum. Try to make things to be standardized. And on the other hand, I think because we are really a new blockchain with a very different architecture, and some of them we cannot use directly. For example, for the BIP 39, the address discovery, because we have multiple groups, so the discovery actually is a bit tricky on our side. This is one of the example. So quite some of the standards cannot be like used directly, but we try to adopt as many as possible. On the other hand, we may miss out some of the very useful standards. So we welcome like contribution from the community and also collaboration. This will be one of the parts of our grants program late, I believe.
Okay, thanks. So you're going to have like a place where we can contribute standards or propose standards as well, I assume. Like.
Yeah, we will have something like an AIP for Alephium in progress or improvement proposal stuff.
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot.
Good.
So maybe AIP777 one day.
Yes.
Hopefully not.
Please.
Or well, no, not really. I wouldn't do. It would. I would actually, if you want
No, that
a
was an
comment on
internal
tokens.
joke.
Okay, if you want a comment on tokens, I would suggest take advantage that you have a new blockchain and you don't have legacy code to deal with, and like don't repeat the mistake of Ethereum with tokens, and avoid all the issues of ERC20 and ERC777. Like just start with a clean standard that avoids the mistake they made with like lock tokens and stuff like that. That's my recommendation.
So I think it's already the case, and maybe Sheng, you can comment a little bit on this, on how tokens are handled in Alephium.
So first, JK, I totally agree with you. Like the standards on the token standards on Ethereum is not really ideal. So on our blockchain, we have this built-in token support. This can solve quite some issues. Right now, I did not think about how to add new features into this built-in token right now. But on the VM side, we have a built-in functionality to work with these tokens. So the security side is much better than Ethereum. But I may miss something. So I know that you are much more experienced on this topic. If you have some time, we would like to collaborate with you to probably get a review of our token model, probably to see if
Sure,
you can.
The fact that you say you have built-in consideration for token for me is already great news compared to add-on stuff like other blockchains. And I'm happy to review stuff. We can definitely figure something out to work on tokens if you want.
That would be awesome. I'll reach out to you later. The main problem right now is the missing of documentation, so that maybe can slow down review or discussion. But yeah, anyway, I'll talk to you later.
Of course, whenever you want, just ping me.
Cool.
Cool. So how are we feeling? Are we do we have any other questions? Do we have any things we forgot to say that we absolutely want to add, or should we end it here?
Speak now or never.
Yeah. Well, I guess that concludes our AMA. Thank you, everyone, for your time and your
Thanks,
patience.
everyone.
Thank you.
And your questions.
I guess we'll try to publish the written Q&A that happened here this week or early next week. We'll see. With the mainnet launch, maybe we'll have other stuff to focus on the next couple of days, but within the next 2 weeks is a realistic time frame, either super quick or not. We'll see. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye bye.